I think I'm part of the problem. I'm a middle-aged guy who jumped headfirst into trading card games at what might be the absolute worst time to do it. Not worse because no one's playing them. Walk into almost any city and you'll find a local game store hosting a TCG event. People are playing, communities exist. The problem? Actually getting the product to consistently play the game is a nightmare. And if you're a new player right now, you probably feel it too. The availability problem. Over the last 9 months, almost every TCG I've picked up has been hard to find in some way. It started with the Final Fantasy set for Magic the Gathering. At launch, almost impossible to find. Even now, most of the product is either unavailable or marked up at double MSRP. I still want the Chocobo bundle from Christmas. At this point, I might have to settle for the Japanese version. Then there's the Gundam card game. You still can't find the first 4 starter decks anywhere. The newer sets are more accessible, thankfully, but those early starter decks contain staple cards people still rely on. Bandai promised reprints, we're still waiting. Riftbound? The first set is still hard to find. Riot had to use a lottery system for the second set. At locals, a small group hoarded Nexus packs, which killed attendance because no one else could get the product. And Proving Grounds, an intro product, is selling for over $200 here in Canada. That's supposed to be an entry point. That's insane. Now let's talk about Grand Archive. This one's the outlier. The product is mostly available. Booster boxes are reasonably priced. The issue, awful drop rates and low supply of staples. Cards like Dungeon Guide are core to multiple decks. You need 4 copies, and good luck pulling them. Singles sit around $15 US each. That adds up fast. Then there's the One Piece card game. This one's weird. A handful of chase cards double the price of entire booster boxes. Even starter decks, including ones that are mostly reprints, have jumped in price. 4 or 5 exclusive cards should not be moving the needle this much, but they are. Just buy singles isn't that simple. Every experienced player says the same thing, just buy singles. And yes, sometimes that's the right move, but not always. In Riftbound, when everyone's building the same Kaisa or Draven deck, singles dry up fast. In Grand Archive, the player base isn't big enough to supply the market, so staple cards get overpriced. Here's the reality. TCGs need people opening packs. That's basic economics. The more products that are open, the more singles hit the market, the more supply, the lower the prices. When a sealed product disappears or skyrockets, everything downstream gets worse. Why starter decks matter? I love starter decks. They're supposed to be the affordable entry point. I bought a Commander Precon in Magic because I didn't know how to build a Commander deck. I wanted to play, not spend 10 hours researching a 100 card list. Wizards did the work for me, and often buying a Precon is cheaper than assembling the deck from singles. Starter decks are also how people learn. They teach mechanics, they give you structure, they let you play immediately with friends. Other than Magic, every TCG I've started began with a starter deck. I didn't understand deck building yet, I needed the training wheels. Even if the deck wasn't meta, it let me learn what I liked. That's how I figured out my playstyle in both Riftbound and One Piece. The starter wasn't my final deck, it was my launch pad, and that matters. The fun part, deck building. Here's the irony, I love deck building. In One Piece, I spent way too much money experimenting. When OP14 dropped, I saw Boa Hancock SR and thought, that's it, that's my deck. I bought so many singles that I've built 2 different blue-yellow variants around her. Are they good? I have no idea. I need to actually play games to find out. Then I discovered Ulti. Saw a clip online and instantly wanted to build around her. She doesn't even have a leader card. Didn't matter, I built something anyway. She's getting support in EBO3 and I want that card, but I'll have to wait for prices to drop. It's a rare, it shouldn't be that expensive, but right now I'm stuck. That's frustrating as a new player. The bigger issue, new players. Here's the real problem. I want new players. Every TCG needs fresh blood, not just for the economy, but for the experience. I'd rather have a close match with someone at my skill level than get steamrolled by a veteran with an optimized deck. That's one reason I've started drifting away from Grand Archive. With fewer new players, locals feel intimidating. When the same experienced players crush you week after week, it stops being fun. TCGs thrive when entry feels possible. Right now, it doesn't feel that way. The language problem. And let's talk about something that makes 0 sense. Language restrictions. Magic lets you play with cards in any language. Riftbound does too. You can buy cheaper Chinese copies and still play them. But Bandai restricts regions. So even though Japanese One Piece and Gundam cards look amazing and are often cheaper, they aren't legal in North America. Why? If the set's released simultaneously worldwide and there's no competitive advantage, the language shouldn't matter. That restriction artificially tightens supply and new players pay the price. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I spread myself too thin. 5 TCGs is a lot. Maybe I should pick 1 or 2 and stick with them. But even if I did, that doesn't fix availability issues for other new players trying to get in. This hobby should be exciting, not exhausting. Conclusion. So yeah, maybe I'm part of the problem. Maybe jumping into multiple TCGs at once wasn't smart. But I don't think wanting affordable entry points, accessible starter decks, and reasonable product availability is asking too much. If companies want their games to grow, they need new players. And new players need product. Simple as that. What about you? Are you new and struggling to find product? Or do you think exclusivity is just part of the hobby now? Let me know in the comments. I generally want to hear how you're dealing with it. If you like this rant, hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you're into TCG discussions like this. And I'll see you in the next one.